Hello, BookTube. We're continuing on with the 8th bookcase, the 5th shelf. This is part 2 of that shelf, and we're going to start the American literature section now, the United States. And again, we'll go to these Norton collections. So the American Tradition in Literature, 3rd edition. I find the, as you probably saw in some of the earlier videos, I do this where they're available. I did it with world literature and with English literature because they're selections that are foundational. I don't always have the newest editions, but I do find them useful. So it's W.W. Norton and Company Incorporated, 3rd edition, like I said. Originally from 56, but this is 67, so it starts with William Bradford and Bradstreet, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, had Jonathan Edwards, Cotton Mather, Jefferson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Edgar Allan Poe, Herman Melville, Emerson, Thoreau. You have volume 2 here, and that is, let's see what we have here. We have Walt Whitman, let's see, Sidney Lanier, Emily Dickinson, large selection, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, Mark Twain, Bret Harte, William Dean Howells, Henry Adams, William James, William Vaughn Moody, Edward Arlington Robinson, Robert Frost, Carl Sandburg. Anyway, you get the point. And then I have other editions of it. I have another edition of volume 2, but this is the 4th edition. So just slightly different. I have no idea. I think I was going to get the 4th edition to replace the 3rd, and I never found the first volume. So maybe I won't keep that one. Then you saw this, the New Oxford Book of English Verse. Well, this one here is the New Oxford Book of American Verse. Oxford University Press, 1976, New York. Let me see here. This is chosen and edited by Richard Ellman. And let's see, they must put the contents after the introduction. Yes, they do. So Anne Bradstreet, Philip Payne, Edward Taylor, Philip Freneau, Phyllis Wheatley, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Whitman, Dickinson. Let's see who they end up with. Sylvia Plath, Imamu Amiri Baraka, which is Leroy Jones. So W.S. Merwin, Philip Levine, Adrian Rich. So moving right along, we got the Oxford Book of American Short Stories. This is edited by Joyce Carol Oates. Oxford University Press, Oxford, New York, in 1992. So I'll give you a sample of some of the stories. Try to run through Washington Irving, who I love, but he gave us Rip Van Winkle. Harry Beecher Stowe, Charles Chesnutt, Henry James, Edith Wharton, Jack London, Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner, Zora Neale Hurston, Richard Wright, Paul Bowles, Peter Taylor, Ralph Ellison, James Baldwin, Flannery O'Connor, Alice Adams, Raymond Carver. I'm just picking at random here. Cynthia Ozick, Sandra Cisneros, Pinckney Benedict. So, short stories. Then one of my favorite books that I go back and back to is The Letters of E.B. White. This one is a revised edition, originally edited by Dorothy Lombrano Guth and revised and updated by Martha White, with an introduction by John Updike. Picture of Martha White and Alan Cove with E.B. This does have illustrations. Absolutely wonderful book. I just dip in and out of it all the time. Then here's a couple volumes. There's a whole series of these New Yorker collections. This is edited by David Remnick and Henry Finder. Disquiet Please. This is more humor from the New Yorker. I think I used it in a recent tag. Funny stories, humorous writing. Random House, New York, 2008. A similar volume. Sacred Ingredients, the New Yorker Book of Food and Drink, again edited by David Remnick. Geez, I'm having trouble with the glare today. Random House, New York, 2007. So you have A.J. Liebing, Alan Gopnik, Anthony Bourdain, Jim Harrison, M.F.K. Fisher, who I love, John McPhee, love his writing. Calvin Trillin, let's see, Ogden Nash, Steve Martin. Let me see, anything else here? Nora Ephron, Italo Calvino, V.S. Pritchett, John Cheever, Alice McDermott, Don DeLillo, Julian Barnes. There's little cartoons in it. So fun. Then here I have 7 plays by Sam Shepard. Buried Child, Curse of the Starving Glass, The Tooth of Crime, La Turista, Tongues, The Savage Love, and True West. This has an introduction by Richard Gilman. And this was obviously a paperback edition. It's a Bantam book of the Bantam trade is May 1984. So a collection of American plays. And we'll get into one of my favorite writers. And this is the selected writings of Washington Irving. This is a Modern Library, edited by Sax Commons. New York, the Modern Library. This is 1945. And here you will find the sketchbook. It's from the sketchbook, from Bracebridge Hall, from Trails of a Traveler, from the Alhambra, and from Wolfert's Roost and other papers. So, and then a nice little, I like these. These are, this is a Grosset and Dumlett, Washington Irving's The Legend of the Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories. Look at that cover. And illustrated by Nenad Jakovic, Grosset and Dumlett Publishers, New York. Illustrated Junior Library. The illustrations are fun. There's some dust on this thing. And then moving right along here, get some Thoreau. So we got Walden, again in a Modern Library. No dust jacket. And this is 1937. So it has Walden, A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers, Cape Cod. Then it has The Allagash and the East Branch, Walking, Civil Disobedience, Slavery in Massachusetts, A Plea for Captain John Brown, and Life Without Principle. Then we have Henry David Thoreau, The River, arranged with notes by Dudley C. Lunt, illustrated by Henry Bugby Kane. I've got a few of these editions. This is, see, a section on the river. Let me give you an illustration so you can see what they look like. So these are like excerpts. Then you have, without the dust jacket, unfortunately, Walden. Again, illustrated by Henry Bugby Kane. This is an introduction by Basil Willey. Bramwell House, New York. Let me see. Try to find an illustration right here. Again in the same series, Cape Cod. They're on a dusty shelf. Arranged with notes by Dudley C. Lunt. Introduction by Henry Beston. Again, illustrated by Henry Bugby Kane. Bramwell House, New York. And let's see if I can find an illustration on that. Oh, here's a neat little. I'd like to find In the Maine Woods. I used to live, or the Maine Woods. I used to live right next to the route he took to get to Mount Katahdin. And moving right along here, we're going to get to Herman Melville. Here's a copy of Moby Dick. And beautiful silk end papers. Beautiful Eastern Press edition, illustrated by Boardman Robinson. So Moby Dick or the Whale by Herman Melville, with an introduction by Clifton Fadiman and illustrations by Boardman Robinson. It's part of the series 100 Greatest Books Ever Written, collector's edition, bound in genuine leather. The Eastern Press, Norwalk, Connecticut. Let's see, 1977, Eastern Press. So it's illustrated throughout. It's got the gold. One of those novels I always enjoyed. Some folks seem to have a problem with. And this is a Library of America volume of Melville. It has Redburn, White Jacket, and again Moby Dick. I'm a big Library of America fan. They keep and put back into print volumes I believe are important. The one volume in this White Jacket, when I was in the Coast Guard in boot camp, they recommended White Jacket because it taught you a lot of nautical terminology, and Melville really was a sailor, or had been a sailor. And then here's another Viking Portable Library of Melville, edited by J. Leda. A little worse to wear on the dust jacket. Probably not the greatest paper quality. Viking Press, New York. So you have Taipei, which is a peep at Polynesian life. So all sorts of stuff in here. Bartleby, Billy Budd. Good volume. Then, speaking of the sea, this is Library of America's American Sea Writing, a literary anthology. Peter Neal, editor. Lovely thing. This has a forward by Nathaniel Philbrook. Many of you will remember him. It's a special publication by Library of America. So I don't know if that means they keep these in print like they do the others or not. I would think maybe not. But I don't know. This is from 2000. So we'll start sea writing with William Strachey, William Bradford, Roger Williams, Scott and Mather. Working way through Edgar Allan Poe, Henry David Thoreau, Herman Melville, Walt Whitman. Like Fadi O'Hearn, Alfred Thayer Mahan, Joshua Slocum, Stephen Crane, Mark Twain, Hart Crane, Ernest Hemingway, James Thurber, Elizabeth Bishop, John Steinbeck, Barry Lopez, who I enjoy, John McPhee again, and that's just randomly reading through. And then finally on this shelf, which we did pretty good on, the Red Badge of Courage, Modern Library, Stephen Crane. Again, no dust jacket on a lot of these modern libraries that I have. An episode of the American Civil War, introduction by Robert Worcester Stallman. And this came out in, this is the 1951 edition of from Random House. So that wraps up the next to last book shelf, which is part 2 of number 5. So we have number 6 coming, and that'll be it for the 8th bookcase. Thank you, BookTube.